He was not born a king. He ruled a kingdom that did not yet believe in kings. And when the world above called for aid, he answered, even if it meant marching into legend and never returning. Welcome to another DragonLance Saga episode. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to talk about the life of Thorbardin's king, Glade Hornfel Kytil. I'd like to take a moment and thank the DL Saga members and Patreon patrons and invite you to consider becoming a member or patron. You can even pick up DragonLance Media or get $10 by signing up to startplaying.games using my affiliate links. I'm referencing DL4 Dragons of Desolation, War of the Lance Sourcebook, Chronicles, Lost Chronicles, Stormblade, and The Last Thane for this information. If I leave anything out or misspeak, please leave a comment below. Very little is known about the early life of Glade Hornfel Kytil. His parentage is unrecorded in the histories of Thorbardin, an unusual omission in a culture that prizes ancestry and clan lineage above almost all else. What is known is that he was Hylar, and that he rose not through blood alone, but through merit, resolve, and an unyielding sense of duty. One of the few recorded family connections is his cousin, Baker Whitegranite, a dwarf he trusted deeply, so deeply, in fact, that Baker would one day be left in charge of Thorbardin itself. Even in his early years, Hornfel distinguished himself as a warrior and leader, personally leading Hylar troops against riots instigated by the Thewar and Dergar clans. These were not symbolic actions. He fought in the tunnels, weapon in hand, earning the scars that would later mark his arms as a badge of hard-won authority. Unlike many of his fellow Thanes, Glade Hornfel believed that dwarven isolation was a slow death sentence. Since the Cataclysm, Thorbardin had turned inward, sealing itself away from the world above. To Hornfel, this was not preservation, it was stagnation. Time and again, he argued before the Council of Thanes that the dwarves must rejoin the world, reopening trade and forging alliances beyond their mountain halls. These efforts met fierce resistance. Only through cooperation with Nis Truesilver, Thane of the Dewar, did any trade at all manage to resume. Hornfel knew the danger. He feared that pushing too hard, too fast, would ignite a civil war that Thorbardin could not survive. And so, he walked a careful path, pressing forward, but never recklessly. One of the clearest signs of Hornfel's open-mindedness came with the arrival of a human named Geordie, known among the dwarves simply as Piper. In a kingdom deeply suspicious of outsiders, Hornfel gave his word for the man's safety. Among dwarves, a sworn word carries immense weight. By staking his honor on a human, Hornfel demonstrated not only his belief in cooperation, but his confidence in his own judgment of character, a trait for which he was widely respected. When the War of the Lance reached Thorbardin, Glade Hornfel ruled as Thane of the Hylar and presided over the Council of Thanes. During this time, a king's sword named Stormblade was forged for him by Isarn Hammerfell and his apprentice Stanach Hammerfell, a weapon meant to symbolize unity and rightful rule. But Stormblade's story became a tragedy. The sword was stolen, lost in the wilderness beyond Thorbardin, recovered, returned, and then stolen again, this time by Rielgar, a Darrow agent secretly serving Verminard. When Hornfel confronted Rielgar, the dispute ended not with words, but with violence. The two fought, and Rielgar fell to his death, plummeting into the depths, taking his ambitions with him. Despite his authority, Hornfel understood that Thorbardin would never truly unite until a symbol greater than any sword was restored, the Hammer of Kharas. When the heroes of the Lance arrived seeking shelter, Hornfel struck a bargain. In exchange for sanctuary, they would recover the hammer. They succeeded. Before a massive assembly of dwarves, Hylar, Dewar, Thewar, and Dergar alike, the Hammer of Kharas was presented to Glade Hornfel Kytil. In that moment, centuries of division ended. He was crowned King of Thorbardin, the first since the Cataclysm, not by conquest, not by bloodline, but by unity. When chaos invaded Krynn, Glade Hornfel did not remain behind his walls. True to his belief that dwarves were part of the world, not apart from it, he led an army of Hylar warriors to fight in the Chaos War. He left Thorbardin in the capable hands of Baker Whitegranite and marched to war alongside the Knights of Solamnia and the Knights of Takhisis. What happened next is shrouded in silence. The fate of Hornfel and his armies remains unknown. All were presumed lost, wiped out in the war against chaos itself. No body was ever recovered, no final battle recorded, only absence. Glade Hornfel Kytil was shorter than most dwarves, but possessed a commanding presence. His hawk-like brown eyes, regal bearing, and well-groomed silver beard marked him as a leader long before he wore a crown. He was a master of both sword and tongue, an impeccable judge of character, a master debater, and a leader who resolved countless internal conflicts without bloodshed. His handwriting was thin and precise, much like his thinking. He was loved by his people, hated by his dark cousins, and respected even by those who disagreed with him. Above all else, Hornfel believed in a future where dwarves stood shoulder to shoulder with the world once more, and he intended to see that future realized in his lifetime. That is all the time I have to talk about Glade Hornfel Kytil. What do you think of the first king of Thorbardin since the Cataclysm? Should the dwarves have opened their gates to outsiders? And since history remembers Glade Hornfel Kytil, he couldn't have been killed by Daemon warriors. Could his remains still be out there? Leave a comment below. I would like to invite you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. It all helps other DragonLance fans learn about this channel and its content. Thank you for watching. This has been Adam with DragonLance Saga, and until next time, remember, not everyone in this world is as wise as the great Fizban the Fabulous.